doesn't like a good spy espionage thriller? You know, there's so many good ones historically. And yeah, you have your favorite, I have my favorite. But I think it's very established across the board. When there is a new one, it's definitely going to draw interest, especially when you have two names that are involved with it right square front in the middle of its promotional work. That brings me, ladies and gentlemen, to my review of the new film, The Amateur. Let's get into that right now. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel today for another review. And today we're going to be reviewing the new film, The Amateur, which is coming to theaters April 11th. So yeah, I got a chance to check this one out early, and as I mentioned, I mean, who just doesn't like a good spy espionage thriller, especially when you have the likes of Rami Malek and Laurence Fishburne as your two lead stars in it. And yeah, Academy Award winner, Academy Award nominee. I mean, yeah, fantastic actors. What could go wrong? Especially in this genre. And I also think when people sort of default back to some of their favorite spy films across the board, you know, it is really about the impressions that these our lead protagonists that they instantly make with us. And I gotta say, what I liked about this film, what I was very nervous about this film initially, was what does Rami look like in this genre as the lead? You know, from the stunts, from all the different things he's going to have to endure for whatever his motivation is. And first, before I even get into everything about with the film, I gotta say I was not convinced at all. And it definitely took some time for me to really believe that for everything he got himself into, he got himself out of. It was very clever, very unique. That I enjoy, but it definitely took a long time for me to really believe in this character, these type of characters, the tropes along with these characters, that Rami was going to be able to do it. And I love the fact that he even made sort of a joke to himself, and even to that point in the film, like, a guy like me gonna be able to do this, da 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 da. Well, maybe he didn't, but the other doubters in the room did. But anyway, let's talk about the film, and I'm going to come back to that in a minute. But it is about his character, Charlie, who's a CIA cartographer. He loses his wife in a London terrorist attack. And I mean, they very quickly establish his love for his wife pretty early. It's cute. So, like, the motivation's there. But, like, to the extent of his motivation is definitely kind of like, wait, do people really do that? But, I mean, you know, maybe that's how far love will take one and how crazy it can drive one, considering, you know, what he does for work and what his job response to the attack that personally affected him. Professionally affected him, but personally affected him, because it was about the fact that when he went to his boss, like, we got to go after him. He did all of his work in terms of his, you know, a guy at the desk on his on his keyboard and computer, you know, getting as much information as he can about it. But when his boss was just so laid back about it, you know, he said, you know what? That's okay. I'm going to blackball the agency. You're going to train me, and I'm going to go out there and hunt down these terrorists who killed my wife. Now, again, you know, could you just imagine the most IT looking guy in whatever respect of a profession that you have goes out there and decides that he wants to get CIA training, and he's going to go out there handling weapons, you know, by himself without the support of the agency to get his wife against a very established terrorist group? I mean, right there alone, you're just like, yeah, it's just not happening. But again, it's because people underestimated him. They really created the profile in this character to really show you what his strong points was, what his weak points were, and he used his strong points to his best of his ability, and it did help him get through and achieve the things he wanted to achieve. Because he's not a killer. He also didn't get the proper training, but he's a master hacker, you know, and he wanted to get revenge on his wife, which is the ultimate motivation for him, because she really mattered, which you know, it's interesting because when you say somebody matters, that's such a powerful statement. in the eye of a terrorist. I'm like, that is not going to work for me in terms of like convincing, the antagonists, the bad guys that like, you're going to go do this because she mattered. So with that being said, the film was interesting. It definitely wasn't its best. I wanted to like it so much more. But at the same time, I definitely think it has potential for a sequel. I think the sequel could be interesting. You had some names involved, such as, again, Laurence Fishburne, who was his mentor, Charlie's mentor. You also have Jon Bernthal, who has this movie and The Accountant coming out sort of back to back. So, like, good to see him, which is so interesting that Jon Bernthal character is the bear, which happens to be the character of his name in the show, The Bear. But Jon Bernthal collecting the check, having a great year, shall I say. But I really, really, really think that as much as you want to go into this, as much as you want to try to draw connections to whatever your favorite or most notable spy espionage thriller, again, like The Bourne Supremacy, this film does everything to be different. It's very unique, doesn't follow the same tropes, even to some point where you just don't believe a particular guy could do everything he's doing. But like, even when there was things that he did, he was like, that's pretty cool. Very unique, very out of the box. There wasn't a lot of blood in this film. There was definitely death, but there wasn't a lot of blood. And I think the film really used a lot of implied violence, which I'm okay with. But I also think for the same amount of the reaction you can get for like really making us believe in this this couple and his soul revenge for his wife, also thinking about establishing the severity of this mission that he went into by truly seeing the brutality behind it, the blood, the gore, and so on. I know that raises the budget and whatnot, but I also think that there is a little bit of a payoff in doing so. So it wasn't the best film. I didn't mind it. Again, you got a lot of notable names in it. I mean, Jon Bernthal's in this joint. You blink, you miss him. He literally is in it for probably 5 minutes. But even when he's in it, you're like, that's such an intriguing character, which to me is just like, well, what about the sequel, And if I truly had to establish what this film felt like to me, especially during the pandemic when there were so many independent films being made, and production was very limited. It kind of feels like that because you don't have too many actors involved, but you do have those names that sort of lay print on a project. Shout out to legendary Bruce Willis, who did so many films during the pandemic, but and then we all understand what's going on with his health, but even still, it felt like you make a film, but you really establish it by putting a notable name in it. And that's where it kind of felt like with some of the folks said, like, don't get me wrong, Rami leads this film. Lawrence is there for a significant time, but everybody else is kind of like in there almost damn near as a cameo. And, and with that, it just kind of like, yeah, kind of the independent film magic trick that's been going on for so long. So that being said, I would say if it piques your interest, go check it out. Not the best, not the worst. I definitely wanted to like it a lot more, but I also think that not a bad foundation to kind of see what's the interest behind this and definitely start to think about potential sequels if it does well. And that could be good. Rami's a fantastic actor, and this is definitely not so much of his type of role, but I gotta say, he made me a believer by the end of the film, especially when I was definitely not convinced, nothing in the world was making me really buy into him being able to take a role into what I thought the capacity of the character was going to be, which actually became the most untraditional type of character in this type of genre that just went away from all the really standard tropes and gave us something really refreshing. So one up for the IT guys, they did their thing. But yeah, check it out in theaters April 11th. Jump in the comments, folks. Let me know your thoughts about this one when you do. And as always, stick around for more reviews and content real soon. Appreciate you watching.